All right, man. Thanks so much for joining me here today. Why don't you no worries. Why don't you just introduce yourself to everybody who's watching?
So my name is Chris. I'm known by Pompsie. That's my nickname because of my last name. And I'm a video creator and editor from New Jersey.
Cool, man. How did you get started in video creation style stuff? Where'd you come from?
So I started making videos when I was younger, in middle school, because I made videos about skateboarding. So me and my friends all skateboarded, and eventually it got to the point where a couple of my friends were so much better than me, and then I kind of gravitated toward the video side of it. I remember one day I went to the skate park, and one of my dad's friends was filming us, and he kind of showed us how to edit. And from there, it kind of blew my mind, and I kind of just got hooked onto editing and making videos from there. So I started with skating, and then just kind of progressed and followed that path.
How many years has this been now?
Probably it's been at least 10 years, probably.
Damn. And what do you use, Premiere Pro or Final Cut?
Right now, I use the Adobe Creative Cloud, so Premiere, and then After Effects, Photoshop, and all the programs that go with it. But about a year and a half ago, for pretty much no reason at all, I just decided to just figure out Final Cut and just use Final Cut. So there were 5 videos I made last year just using Final Cut, just because I wanted to use it, just for the heck of it.
Just to learn.
Yeah, I used to use Final Cut back in the day. That was the first professional editing software that I used. I used Final Cut 7 when I was younger, but I think Adobe's better now, so I use Adobe.
Yeah, it's pretty intuitive to use. Did you go to school for it, or are you all self-taught?
No, I went to school for it, but generally for me, I learned more by myself and just kind of reading and going on the internet and doing my own research. But yeah, I did go to school for it. I have a degree in electronic media. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. Where'd you go to school?
I went to a school in Pennsylvania called Kutztown University. Yeah,
nice.
kind of in the middle of nowhere. Most people don't know it, but those who do are pretty fond of it, I'd say.
That's pretty cool. So it's been a pretty long journey. You just learning throughout the years. What are some things that maybe at the beginning you kind of had a tough time learning, or any kind of struggles you had?
Okay. So I will say, I guess the struggles I've had have come from being, I guess, kind of stubborn. My advice would be to I still try to learn at least one new thing every day. I used to approach video because I got pretty comfortable making videos when I was younger, and I thought I'm really good at this. I thought I didn't realize how much more there is to know and to learn. I thought the knowledge I had was pretty vast at that point. So I guess you could say, kind of got a little cocky. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I guess so. What I've learned over the years is that to never ever feel that way. Always be a lifelong student. So that would be the best advice I had. Because in the past, when I got to college, because there was in high school, I was the best at making videos pretty much. There was no one that really there weren't too many people that made videos, but there was no one really as good as I was at that time. But when I got to college, I met a couple buddies that were doing things I had no idea how to do, and I was oh, it kind of shook me, and it put me in my place a little bit. Made me realize that no matter how good you are, you can always be better.
Yeah, totally. Always be in that learning mindset. You should never settle, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. So what's something right now, apart from learning something new every day, what's something right now that you're kind of working on? Maybe not just towards video editing, maybe something in your mindset or personal habits or something like that.
That's a good question. I would say, I'm always trying to be more organized in general, have a stricter kind of plan. But one thing I've been doing is I've been organizing. I do this in Google Drive where I organize all my stuff. But I've been writing down. I have a page, a goals page, career goals, and kind of been writing down what's my short-term goals, mid-range, and long-term goals to kind of try to just put it on paper and kind of go back every few weeks and kind of like tweak it and like make sure what I'm doing is like aligning with my actual long-term goals. So that's something I think is pretty important that I haven't done like ever. I've kind of always just like scrambled and kind of like made videos this week what I'm feeling like doing, and then that week, but now I'm trying to kind of like formulate a long-term plan. So that's one thing. For like people that deal with freelance, the thing that's really important is like your professionalism, because so like you have your work for one thing, right? If you do great work, that's great. You know, you can get clients and do, you know, make money and do that great work. But the other side of it is your professionalism, like your attitude when you're doing a job, when you're dealing with clients and stuff like that, like how you talk, how you dress, all these things. There's a different side to it. So like for my whole life, I've never really taken into account, you know, being like professionalism. I've always just kind of like, sorry, there's a bug that I had to kill. That was pretty random. Okay, I'll re-say that. So I'd say through my young career, like I've gotten jobs because I've been able to do the work. I haven't really taken the professionalism side as serious as I could. You know, if you're more professional, you can get more jobs and be respected more and just excel more. So that's something I've been really trying to excel at recently.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are you reading any kind of like, this is always an easy question, like are there any books that you read that you found kind of helpful, maybe motivational wise, I guess?
All of Gary Vee's books. I love Gary Vee. I've read all his books, and right now a book that I'm reading, I don't know if will help the average entrepreneur, but for me, I'm reading a book it's called Videocracy, and it's written by one of the heads of YouTube that analyzes like trends over the years, like video trends and like videos that have gone viral and all these things. And I'm reading that book, and it's been kind of like opening my eyes to what people are watching, what's resonating, and so that's been motivational to me. It's not going to be motivational to someone who isn't in video, but
that's pretty
that's
cool.
What I'm reading right now.
Yeah. What about Gary Vee do you love so much? Is it kind of just like his motivational side?
There's a lot I like about Gary. I would say the main thing is his motivation, but in like a practical sense. He just really opened my eyes to like, okay, figure out what you do, what you're good at, you know, like bet on your strengths and, you know, understand your weaknesses, but don't let them bring you down, you know. Like he's cool to me because like in my head, I always thought like to be successful, you had to do all these things, you know, like you had to be an avid reader, you had to talk a certain way, blah, blah, but Gary's kind of proven that like that's not the case, and you can pave your own path with your skills. And I don't know, he's just great.
Yeah, I totally agree with that though. Like, bet on your strengths, like whatever you're good at, put all your cards in that hand, and just work at it, and you know, just put your head down and keep at it.
Yeah, like another thing with him is like he's obviously an extreme. He works at the extreme, obviously. Like he's the person that's like 99% of my time is working, the other 1% is sleeping, eating, and fun. You know, like that's crazy. I respect it because he has, you know, a passion, and he's willing to give up like the average things that people will not give up, like going out to parties and like all these social events and all, you know, binge watching Netflix documentaries and shows all the time, you know. And that's what I respect about him, because like all my friends growing up, they never understood that. They're always trying to go to these parties and do these things, and I'm like, I felt weird about it. I felt like, well, that's not really getting me closer to my goals, you know. So I guess I resonated with that a lot, you know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's definitely one thing I've been working on myself too, is just like trying to focus more on the work stuff and get rid of all that extra stuff that you don't need, that's not going to, you know, push you forward in career growth as far as that goes. Yeah, it's super important to keep into mind check that, you know, I interviewed this guy last week and he said something really cool. He said, where your focus goes, your energy, where your focus flows, your energy goes, which I thought made a lot of sense.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, do you have any like little, maybe for the video editors watching, do you have any like little advice for them, tips or tricks?
Ooh, advice for video editors. Yes, actually. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to know, but one thing as of recently that's been helping me a lot is, one thing I do now is I'm always on the hunt. Like I spend time researching. I have a folder in my Google Drive I call Video Tools. In that folder, I have like links to resources, like websites where you can download, like transition packs and like plugins and all this stuff. Also in there, I have like a list of creators that I learn from. That people on YouTube that I learn a lot of editing stuff from. So I have that list, and every once in a while I check in to watch what the new stuff they come out with. So that always helps me learn new things. I'd say like spend time doing the research on the plugins, like third-party plugins for After Effects and Premiere. Like there's all these effects that are out there that you can find that can step up your work. So that's a big thing. Like spend time finding resources. That's a big thing. Another thing. What I do, like I said before, I try to learn one new thing every day. What I do is I literally, I'll open Premiere, and before I start editing, I'll just, mosey around in the software, and I'll just, find something I have no idea what it is. Like a button, or, something in the menu that's, words, that I just don't know what the fuck it means. And then I'll just, say, okay, that's the thing I don't know. I'm going to research that and figure that out. So eventually, I'm not there yet, but eventually I'm going to know, every little aspect of Premiere. So that'll just bring me up to a new level. And then the third thing, I'm sure you've heard this before if you're a video editor, learn the shortcuts, the keyboard shortcuts, even if because speed's a huge thing with editing. If you could even get a little bit faster, you're going to be more valuable and be a better editor.
Yeah, 100%. That's some really good advice, man. Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, man. Cool. Well, I think that's a kind of a good spot to end it off there. Do you have any final tips or anything you want to say to anybody watching, or something you want people to check out? I'll link your YouTube below as well. Cool.
Yeah, I'd say if you want to watch my stuff on YouTube, that's where I put most of my effort in, and that's what I'll be growing. Yeah, I would say if you're an editor, if you have any questions or you're struggling, it can be extremely frustrating. Reach out to me on either YouTube comment or Instagram, and I would love to help you. There's lots of little things that you necessarily maybe you could find on the internet, but it'd be easier to ask another video editor. So if there's something you're struggling with, you can just ask me about it, and I'll help you. I like to do that for people because it can be really frustrating, and if I could solve a frustration easily, that I would be happy to do that. So.
Yeah. Cool, man. Awesome. I love that little bit of value for people watching. Awesome, dude. Well, yeah. Chris, thank you so much for doing this today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for calling. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries, man.